This is Minor League Hockey Report Podcast number 21, being recorded on Tuesday, February 4th, 2014. I'm Matthew Harding, joined by Zach Corder and Jason Chavy. This podcast is sponsored by Superior Signs and Engraving.
You should have been gone.
They are your choice for signs, trophies, name badges, plaques, and more. Visit them online at superiorsigns.biz. Also, thanks to Chip Crail at chlphotos.com for partnering with us again this year. And you can also find our information and podcast over at chlforums.com. Little O Sherry by Steve Perry, formerly of Journey. And we'll bring Zach and Jason in.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going, boys?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good.
I've had a really good day so far.
It has been a great day.
Yeah.
I didn't have class, didn't have to go to work. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I can't see your face because there's a speaker. So I'm just talking to the back end of a speaker.
Nice.
I'm not tall enough to look
He's
over.
talking to the ass end of a speaker right now. There we go. Our special guest for the podcast just moved said speaker, and
Gracias, señorita.
That's right.
muy bien.
That's right. We'll bring in our special guest here in just a few moments.
Lots of heavy petting.
I'm the only person heavy petting with our special guest.
Well, you're kind of giving it away.
I know.
Give it away, give it away, give it away now. We don't play music at the Super Bowl.
I actually enjoyed that halftime show.
Yeah,
was a
except
good
for they
show.
weren't playing their real instruments. That was a
Those
pre-recorded.
could be in wireless. They have wireless
No,
instruments nowadays.
Flea came out with a statement that said it was a pre-recorded
Oh, it
track.
did?
Yes.
Losers.
Yeah. So I want to say that Zach and I have been hanging out most of the day along with our special guest we'll get to here in just a few moments. Hello. And
In case you didn't know, we have a special guest that we're going to get to in a couple moments.
Wait, we have a special guest.
That's
we're
right,
Gonna,
we
we're
do.
going to get to the special guest in a couple moments.
matter of fact, I'll just
Hot
do
dog.
No, here we go. Our special guest. She is a heavy Golden Girls fan. She
And who isn't a fan of B. Arthur? I mean, she's hot.
she is also the lovely, lovely wife of our host Matthew Harding. She is none other than Shaylin Harding. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, glad to be here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I wanted the last.
Thanks for joining us, babe. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Hi.
Don't get too excited.
Hi.
Yeah. Please don't get excited about this.
It'd be like Zach over there and be heavy breathing.
Yeah. I'm ready.
We got Darth Vader in the house.
I am not your father.
It looks like Planet Hoth outside. Has a nice transition.
It does. I have something I want to. I have something I want to burn on really quick. There's a.
You're gonna smoke a dart?
Going for a dart.
All right. No, I have something that I want to stew on real quick. We're recording this as a major snowstorm is in progress. What the hell are you laughing for?
No, please stew on, sir. Stew on.
All right.
No, come on, Matt.
I have.
Stir that chili.
Do not edit this up.
Okay, so please continue. We want you to stew and chili and brew.
We all
and-
have cabin fever, so
Well-
just mind that.
Well, we're.
Hey, some of us have a real job and had to go to work today.
Yeah. I was at work at 3:00 this
Don't
morning.
blame
so-
me. My job is to drive. I don't think I want to end up in the ditch in the middle of El Dorado.
Don't blame me because people want their drugs and they
BTK?
need their crazy pills.
Yeah. So please stew.
Don't.
Please.
Let's talk about that.
Stew, Matthew. Stew.
We're recording this as a major snowstorm is going on across a lot of the country. Why the hell was everything closed today? I get that it's snowing and everything, but my God.
Because we're not from Canada. That's why. We're not used to this. It doesn't happen like 6 months out of the year. It happens in January, maybe a little bit in February.
No, we went to Best Buy to pick up some things for the podcast this evening,
Right.
and they're closing at 6:00.
Well, we tried to go to Pee Wee.
They were closed.
We tried to go to Shoe Carnival.
They were closed.
We tried to go to Famous Footwear.
closed.
So basically, the point of your story here is that too many people were closed with only a half foot of snow. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm just going to say sometimes 6 inches will do it.
Yeah. Oh man.
Okay, well, I'm done stewing about that since she said 6 inches would do it.
Got to make you feel pretty good about yourself there, Matt.
Yeah.
You know?
I said sometimes.
Yes.
We'll get into the agenda this evening. The CHL trade deadline has come and gone with relatively no activity, though there was about an hour period after the deadline passed where there was a couple of trades that was perhaps in the works.
Yeah.
And we were the first to report that Anthony Perticaro on deadline day, the rights to him, we understand that he's in Vegas playing for the Las Vegas Wranglers in the ECHL. But the rights to Anthony Perticaro went from St. Charles to Rapid City. And, Zach, you talked to Joe Ferris Monday night. What did he say about that trade?
Well, Joe made it quite clear that on the phone with me that this in no way means that Anthony Perticaro is going to be in a Rapid City lineup anytime soon. He made it clear that he just wanted to secure the rights for Anthony should he choose to leave Las Vegas and come back, or if something happens with him there. So I think this was just kind of a secure move to have a guy like Anthony available should he choose to come back to the Central Hockey League. He made that quite clear that there was not any surety that he was going to report anytime soon.
We want to thank Mark Benetti for hooking us up with Coach Ferris on Monday on deadline day. What did Joe tell you as well about the rest of the trade market as he seen it on Monday afternoon?
Well, the parity in the league is what he brought up, and the fact that there's so many teams that are competitive right now that they are unable to really give away or lose any key players to make a trade, or usually at this time of the year there's a couple to three teams that are out of the running per se, and that's not the case this year. So he made it clear that everybody kind of talked to everybody, but there weren't a lot of options open as far as anybody giving away a key player, and nobody really wanted to try and make that big move.
Yeah, I think that was a big stumbling block for a lot of teams, and we did want to make one correction. We did report that the Euro signing deadline was on Monday, February 3rd. That is not the case. It is Monday, February 10th. And that gives teams one extra week to get those people over, but they may not be coming over because of the Olympics that start this week.
Yeah, and that was one thing that he brought up when I asked him about the European signing deadline, was that because of the Olympics starting in a week, that guys aren't going to want to come back and go back and forth, and they're not even going to be available. So because of that, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the move for Perticaro, Perticaro's rights from St. Charles to Rapid is just securing Perticaro's rights in the league this year. He can go anywhere else he wants to go, but if he's playing in the Central Hockey League the rest of this season, he's playing in Rapid City.
Right. Unless they waive him or waive his rights, then yeah, he'll be coming back to Rapid City.
Right. What are the chances that he leaves Las Vegas, which is a last place team?
I think pretty good, because he played with Rapid City before, and he knows that he has a spot there. And when I spoke to Joe Ferris about what kind of a player that Anthony brings to the lineup, he's a gritty forward that gets to the the dirty places and does the stuff that a lot of the skilled players really don't want to do. And when given the opportunity, he made it very clear that he can produce points when given the opportunity. So, Joe seemed excited about it, about the prospect of possibly having him back. But again, that all is determined on whether or not he wants to leave the East Coast Hockey League to come play back in Rapid City.
But honestly, would you rather go to another league who's a top contender in the league, or would you stay in a bottom feeder team? I think everybody out in the West now makes the playoffs because the San Francisco Bulls folded in mid-season.
Right, yeah.
But I think would you rather go to a first place, are they still tied for first place?
Yeah.
Okay. First place team and contend for a cup, or would you still want to stay for a bottom feeder?
Well, you got to ask the question: is he the type of player that enjoys more where he plays rather than how they're doing? Because Las Vegas has been said many times by players that is the best place to play. It's the best place to visit, because it's Vegas. Just because it's Vegas. So
and their arena is pretty much just like a block off the strip anyway.
But if I personally am answering that question, I want to go try and win a cup.
Yep,
I agree.
So
yep.
But I mean, I also guess could play into how much playing time he's getting in Las Vegas. depending on what line he's playing on. Because what line would he play on in Rapid City if he would go?
Maybe third line, 10th forward.
He'd be a third liner. I mean, I think he'd be on.
I mean, so yeah, that plays into his decision as well. So
Yeah,
I think it doesn't matter if I'm Anthony Perticaro. I don't think it matters where I'm plugged in to the lineup. I'm leaving Las Vegas, no pun intended, to go play for a cup. Players play to win championships.
all right. So here's a question: does he play for the Rush this year?
I say yes.
Okay.
I say yes. Joe Ferris doesn't make that move without some assurance that Anthony Perticaro is coming back to Rapid City.
I would agree with that. Why would you even make that trade, quote unquote, trade with
right.
St. Charles if you're not going to
Because he wanted to make sure that if he left, because and this has nothing to do with Anthony Perticaro as a player or person or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
In the general scheme of things, with any player out there, especially in the ECHL at any given time, guys can get cut. They can have problems with the coaching staff. They can have problems in the locker room. They can have problems off the ice, and get waived, get cut, whatever, or just leave the team. We've seen it happen where guys just leave a team because of production. Mm-hmm. And if he's not producing, or if he's having troubles with the coaching staff or playing time, anything like that, it's easy to leave. So I mean, Joe Ferris may not have any assurance from Anthony Perticaro that he's leaving, but that option is always there that, hey, if he does leave or if something happens, I have this guy on my roster.
And the good thing about Perticaro is that he doesn't have to join the team right away. He can wait until mid-March, continue to play his game in Las Vegas, and then leave Las Vegas if he wants and join the Rush for the playoffs.
If you're Joe Ferris, you make this trade, and then a guy waits 2 months until he's basically assured they're out of the playoffs or not going to produce, then do you really want him back if he's going to be that kind of type of a person? And this is all hypothetical. And Anthony Perticaro may be a very loyal player, and I'm just throwing out devil's advocate stuff here. But
sure,
I
would say that he. Yeah, to me, it doesn't matter if I'm Joe Ferris. It doesn't matter where Anthony Perticaro's allegiances lie, as long as it's on my team.
So is he worth the wait?
No, I don't personally think so.
Okay.
I think that if you get into a 7-game series, and if you're Rapid City, given the amount of parity in the league this year, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, given the amount of parity in the league, and any team lower than you, their ability to beat you, you don't take that chance on Perticaro and exposing your penalty kill.
Well, and a couple of fans have brought that up, between forums that we've posted our stuff on, that, and Rapid City fans are kind of question his ability on the ice to actually help out the team.
Yeah, there's some that are pretty vehement about him not coming back there. They do not want to see him back there.
But I mean, again, as a coach, you may see things in a player that fans don't, and
right.
you may see more production value out of him than negatives. And the way that Joe Ferris talked about him on the phone with me, he was very positive about the type of person Anthony Perticaro is. So, and again, why would they make that move if they didn't want him? You're not gonna sign a guy or trade for a guy that you don't want on your team.
Right.
Joe Ferris wanted him on his team for a reason.
Mm-hmm. And just looking here at their overall penalty killing record, Tulsa is 9th at 79.2%. Rapid City is 10th, and it's not even close, 73.7%.
Yeah.
So that is the question I have, is do you bring that player in who has that ability to play with a little bit of extra spunk and he'll commit the stupid penalty at times?
Yeah.
Do you bring him in and sacrifice your penalty kill for it?
Well, I mean, could it get much worse right now, though? I mean,
can only go up.
They did bring in Kevin Harvey.
Yeah.
And I think Kevin Harvey, like you and I have discussed off the air, Zach, Kevin Harvey is Anthony Perticaro with more skill and a veteran.
Yeah. But, I mean, your hypothetical question, though, is already being answered.
Yes.
Joe Ferris already made the trade, so he's answering it for you.
Yeah.
Obviously he thinks that there's something that he can add to the team.
Yeah, and I do think, I think Rapid City fans will be disappointed initially that Perticaro is back. I think he ends up with the team.
Yeah.
We'll see what kind of dividends that move pays off. It may not pay any.
Yeah.
But it's worth the discussion.
Absolutely. That's why we do these.
Yep. Yep, and quickly, let's talk about the Arizona Brampton trade
Yeah.
with Michael Couch. Since that trade has been made, Arizona has been really hot lately, and Andrew English is just playing out of his mind hockey.
Yeah.
I'll ask this, true or false, Arizona gets home ice in the first round of the playoffs.
At this point, I'll say yes. True. I think at this point, they won the last 5, 3 against Rapid City and 2 against Denver. Both are top 4 teams. Mm-hmm. And they were not close games. There was one that was a 1-goal game, but they beat Rapid City 4-2, 4-2, 5-1, beat Denver 4-3, 4-1. They're scoring goals in bunches. They're not allowing a lot of goals. The most goals they allowed in the last 5 games, 3 goals. You know, they're playing good hockey. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you know, and Rapid City was at home for them, but then Denver was at Denver. You know, so I think at this point, yeah, they're going to make a run.
They're only 6 points behind 4th place Denver. So if you're looking at that, I mean, yeah, they can definitely make that up within the next couple months. I believe so, because Denver,
Couple months, couple weeks.
yeah,
you know?
could be,
Yeah.
because Denver's kind of on the downslope while Arizona is on, you know, the rise.
Well, and we'll get into all that here in just a minute. I just wanted to touch on that move because I think Michael Couch, with his championship experience and you know, his ability to play really solid defense, has really bolstered that blue line, which was a question mark for them going into the season.
Well, yeah, and even as of late, you know, they were making progress in the season, but at the same time, this was a smart move for them, and it just kind of, you know, shored everything up on that the backside of their defense. So, you know, it was a smart move all the way around. You know, that was a win-win for Arizona.
Arizona now with 2.85 goals for per game. They have 17 goals, or 117 goals in 41 games. They're 9th in the league, although I think that stat is deceiving since Cochimilio and Rutherford have gotten out to Arizona. Cochimilio now on the 30-a-day IR. Mm-hmm. That stat is misleading. The stat that is not is 123 goals allowed in 41 games, 3 goals a game. They're allowing 3 goals a game. Again, that's probably skewed a little bit given the goaltender problems that they had behind Andrew English earlier on in the season.
Okay, so we're, you know, 40 games in for them, 41 games in. In the last 10, though, so that's a quarter of what they've played, they're 8-0-2 with a 1.9 goals against average in the last 10. So I think it's safe to say that they've kind of righted the ship with how they're playing, and
I think I saw a stat that they were undefeated since the new year.
it sounds about right with the last 10. So yeah.
So
And English, out of those 10 games, English played in 9 of them, and he went 8-0-1 with 2 shutouts.
Jeez.
And a 1.63 goals against average and a 948 save percentage.
Good God, that's just incredible.
No.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to go back to the Rapid City situation. I want to thank a couple people for our trade deadline day, which we're going to thank a few other people. But I want to thank Mark Benetti out of Rapid City. Not only did Mark get back to me on very short notice about an interview, he not only communicated with me about the trade, got me in contact with Joe Ferris. I was able to have a nice about 20-minute phone call or a phone conversation with Joe Ferris, all same day, all on the trade deadline. So my thanks to both Mark Benetti and Joe Ferris. I want to thank Rob Labor in Tulsa. I reached out to him early in the day on the trade deadline through text, and Rob got right back to me as well about the moves or lack thereof that Tulsa was going to make. So a couple of people in the league that have really reached out to us and helped us make the trade tracker and the trade deadline a very big success for not only you all that were able to follow the trades that were happening or lack thereof as they were happening, but that we were able to have a huge day for our site and for the Central Hockey League. And we want to thank Bob Hoffman with the Central Hockey League for partnering with us for now the second or third time in the last couple months. Bob is the media director for the Central Hockey League, and he was awesome to pub the trade tracker on their website and made it very clear that we were going to be the exclusive source for breaking trades and news on the trade deadline. So a couple people that we want to give our sincere thanks to for helping make that a huge success so that you all could have the trades and the information and the news as it happened and as we got the text as well.
Yeah, it was very, very cool to watch, to work that deadline day in a real-time situation. That is how league news needs to be broken, I think. And the fact that you folks were able to trust in us and we were able to bring you that news just continues to fortify what we're doing here. And so I do want to say that we were able to clinch our biggest day ever, and by a rather wide margin, almost 2-1.
Yeah.
On Monday, February 3rd, with 2,772 page views. We had in 5 hours 1,000 views.
Yeah. Well, and I want to clarify what we're...
and 1,800 between 8 a.m. Central and 3 p.m. Central.
Yeah. Boom. And I want to clarify what our point that we're trying to make here is, between the contacts that we've made over the last several months, our goal has always been, whether it be at our former website till now, has always been to be the leader of breaking news and the best source for every team in the Central Hockey League, that you all can get the information that you deserve to get about your local hockey teams. We all understand this isn't the NHL. This is not major markets, but it's important to us. The teams matter, and we care about our teams. And so we felt like that was something that we needed to bring to the Central Hockey League, and I feel like this was just a way to show that we've done it up until this point. And, so we're not necessarily bragging about the site stats. I mean, we did off the air, but, it's more to say that it's good to see that we're being recognized not just by the loyal followers and people and readers that we've had over the last 2 years, but now by the leagues and the teams. And it's been very rewarding to do this for you all. And, as hard, as much work as we put into it, it's been worth it, and it's been rewarding, and it's paying off for us as far as being able to see you all have a huge day and see that you followed us just as much as we wanted to get the news to you.
Yeah, and it's also great to engage with the fans as well, because at the end of the day, we are still fans, and we are still fans of the game of hockey. The fact that we had that big of a day on Monday, I think, just goes to, like I said, crystallize the mission that we're after.
Yeah, and this started for me about 4 years ago, and I started a local blog, and it did pretty well. And I was, Mike Finazzo out of Evansville. Some of you may have, heard us talk about him or remember him writing. He's the one that started this idea with us. Evansville left the league. He stepped away, and Matt, you and I looked at each other, and we made the decision to continue on, and it's been worth it. It's been worth it to see the fact that we've made an impact with the news and information that people are getting in the Central Hockey League. So, yeah, it's been a fun week for us, and we've enjoyed doing it, and we're going to continue to give you all the most information we can get to you.
Yep, and we are working on some things for the playoffs as well. We're already planning for that. Playoffs. So we're working toward that. We're hoping to bring another layer of playoff coverage for you this year, and we really can't jinx that. Don't want to jinx that now. And we're also hoping to continue things with the league as we head through the summer as well. So that's all we'll say on that. Just stay tuned for more, and we'll get the information to you as we finalize things.
Yep.
So thank you again so much to Bob Hoffman and Commissioner Steve Ryan at the Central Hockey League for partnering with us, and thank you very much for all of your patronage on our site over the last really 14 months since we've launched.
Yep.
So, all right, let's move on, and we'll talk about the league standings. We are just under 7 weeks to go until the playoffs kick off, and there is a logjam at the top of the league standings. On Tuesday night, Rapid City, Allen, and Missouri all had 54 points apiece, and Rapid City 5-5-0 in their last 10 games. Allen, as we record this podcast on February 4th, was 6-2-2 in their last 10. Missouri 6-3-1. As we look at that, and Missouri and Allen were to play on Tuesday night, but weather postponed that game, and that'll be played later on this month. Let's talk about Rapid City again, should they be concerned coming off of the January that they had? Is this a slump, or is this something that they can work out of?
This was injuries and an unfortunate set of events for Rapid City. I think they're just getting Tim Boron back, so which Joe Ferris was extremely excited about getting Tim back.
Yeah,
and I think that's obvious.
Who wouldn't be?
And he made it clear it's hard when your team loses their starting goaltender. Anytime, and this isn't the Rapid City of old where it was Danny Bottaccio and Tim Boron. It's Tim Boron's ship in Rapid City, and he went down, and it was clear that things weren't right when he's gone.
Tim Boron in the month of January, 4 games played, 155 minutes, 0-2-0 with a 387 goals against average. Keaton Hartigan 5-5-0 with a 321 goals against average. Rapid City in the month of January 5-7-0 with a 342 goals against average. Seen somewhere that I believe in the box score of the last Arizona Rapid City game that Boron left the game there as well. So it'll be interesting to see if Boron starts against Denver on Tuesday night and how he performs, whether he's back from his injuries in the middle part of his body or not.
So really, he's had 1 game since injury.
Yeah,
and so I think the prior stats may have been affected by that, the injury. So, he took 2 shots at separate times. So, as a goalie, in your ribs, you're moving all the time. Your torso is moving constantly. Whether it be you getting in position to make a save, or you actually making the save, sprawling around. Anything could have happened to keep tweaking that during a game. So he was activated on the 29th, and he's played 3 games since then. So we'll have to see. We'll check in with him and see what's going on. He is playing tonight at Denver. He's 5 for 5 so far with saves. So we can actually that can be like a live update.
And I think it could be. But I think as well he gave up 4 goals in that game against Arizona. I think maybe Joe Ferris is kind of maybe saving Tim for the long haul here.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it before. Keaton Hartigan is a solid backup. Mm-hmm. I use the word backup though, and Tim's going to get back to how he played before the injury. We know that. It just he still may be sore. I don't know. I haven't talked to him lately, but we'll see how it goes. But we know that it can only go up from Rapid. I mean, they're not going to keep going 500 the rest of the season. We know that.
No. So I agree with your assessment that they won't go 500 the rest of the way. I don't know if they'll play at the blistering pace that they got off to. That's awful hard to do.
Well, yeah, because if they kept up that pace, they're just hand over the cup.
Yeah.
But so I mean, it was only a matter of time before the teams kind of evened out, and they've done that so far.
Right. Another team who recently had their streak ended was the Allen Americans at the hands of the Wichita Thunder. Wichita swept them in the weekend series January 31st and February 1st. Is that a big deal for Allen or not really?
It's a bigger deal for Wichita than it is Allen, and I know you're trying to talk about Allen here, but I think it's a bigger deal for Wichita to get those 2 wins, one on the road and one at home, which they've been struggling at home. But for Allen, that you look at the way that those 2 games were played, and it would have been hard for anybody to beat Wichita those 2 games. Mm-hmm. And the way that hasn't been said a lot this year. So, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to pump up Wichita because you haven't been able to say that much all year. But the Thunder played 2 fantastic games. So, regardless of who played them, that would have been a struggle. Allen is
we can have
Allen's going to be fine. And I was a little surprised they didn't make a move. To be honest with you, I was a little surprised at something.
Where would you make the move?
Probably on the defensive side.
Well, you have Jonathan Zion now, who's on 7-day IR but for conditioning, and if you're going to make a move, if you were Allen and like you said you wanted to make a move on defense, who do you move?
Daniel Tatro.
Why?
He's a vet, first of all, and he had a good series this weekend, but he's got 13 points through 41 games and is a -6. It's toward the end of his career, and it's a vet spot that you're taking up. And there may be, especially after the Olympic break, vets that would be willing to move over here and try and win a championship, a.k.a. Todd Robinson. Now, Todd didn't move back. He didn't move from overseas, did he?
No, he was in the ECHL.
Now, Todd didn't move back, but at the same time, that was a vet guy that came in late in the season, won your team a championship. So I think you have to get rid of Tatro and make a move with a better defenseman.
That move comes when Jonathan Zion gets activated from IR, does it not?
Probably, yeah. I think so. Because I mean, you look at if you look at the stats right now, you say, okay, well, fine, move Dallas Earhart, but Dallas Earhart's a +10, whereas Tatro's a -6.
Well, and Earhart is a big, tall guy. He takes up half the ice when he plays.
Well, and he's obviously producing defensively because he's a +10.
Right.
So, I mean, and here's the deal: Daniel Tatro is one of the nicest guys hockey-wise you'll ever meet. He loves playing the game. That's the only reason he does it, is because he loves the game. I really don't think he's out at for money or to win a championship anymore, but he loves the game of hockey. He expressed it when he played here in a news article. He just likes getting on the bus with the guys and playing hockey still. But at this point, if you're Allen, it's not about nice guys. It's about winning another championship. And if you're going to make a move defensively, I think that's one you got to make.
What about a guy like Ross Rouleau?
Is younger, though.
Okay.
Ross knows the system in Allen. And honestly, I never saw Allen being a good fit for Tatro.
No.
Just because of they're a good team doesn't mean it's a good fit.
Right.
And that's not the kind of team he played on. I thought, now this is obviously a different league and stuff like that, but when he played in Evansville, that was more his style. They were a little bit cleaner team as far as a little bit more...
little bit more of a finesse team.
There you go. I don't mean like they're dirty players in Allen, but what I'm saying is it's more of a rugged game. Between Matvichuk and Martinson, though, those are two rugged guys that they play a physical game. And while Tatro has always had a good hip check, getting dirty was never really his deal.
No.
And so I thought he was better off in Evansville or even on a Wichita team back in the day rather than in Allen. So Ross has been, through the ranks, and I'd rather keep him than I would Tatro.
So we agree that Tatro would likely be the one to move if you were going to make a move when Jonathan Zion comes off IR.
Yeah.
Does this Allen team repeat as champions, you think, with the lineup that they currently have?
I could see it happening. But with the parity at the very top of the league, I mean, it'd be much more difficult than how it was last year with just Wichita and Allen. Because this year you have Missouri at the top, you have Rapid City, obviously, and then you have Arizona on the rise. There, I think they could be potentially a deadly team in the playoffs as well. So, of course, they have the chance to do it, but I don't know if they have as good as a team as they did last year.
Yeah, I think you're wrong. Here's the deal. With Allen, they are not as strong on both sides of the puck as they were last year. And I think there's too much parity in the league this year. And I don't think that the standings indicate the stronger teams in the league as well as it should. And I think Missouri is a very, very good team. I think Rapid will get back to being a very, very good team. And I think there's two teams in the lower half of the standings that can also compete for the Cup. And I don't think Allen is one of them right now.
Who are those two lower teams?
Arizona and Wichita.
Without Kevin McClellan making a move?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, then let's talk about that race for the last home ice spot. I asked you earlier if Arizona got it. You said yes, Zach. At the time that we're recording this, there are 7 points between 4th place Denver and 9th place Wichita. Wichita plays a pretty top-heavy schedule the rest of the way. They have a weekend set with Missouri and Tulsa sandwiched in between on Saturday.
Okay, so there's 7 points, though, that separate Wichita and Denver right now.
Yeah.
And the question that you're posing, though, is can Wichita close that gap?
Yes.
With the way that Denver and Brampton have been playing of late, I think it's possible. The problem with that we've seen all year with Wichita is inconsistencies. Mm-hmm. It's almost that whole 2 steps forward and then 3 steps back, and then 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, which leaves us at 500. So, they've shown progress, and I think the 2 wins against Allen were good steps for them. They just have to keep up some sort of consistency.
Favorable schedule for Wichita this weekend. They play Missouri at home Friday and Sunday, and play Tulsa at the BOK Center, who they defeated their last time they played on Saturday night. So,
well, if you look at their schedule, they actually have a favorable schedule the rest of the way. Play Allen at least 3 more times, but then you have a bunch of games against Tulsa. You have a couple games against Arizona. You have Brampton coming up. So, I mean, in the way that, again, that Tulsa's been playing, a bunch of games against Tulsa are ones that you have to win if you're going to make that move. So, I really see a favorable schedule. They still have, looks like about half the schedule, if not a little bit more, still at home. So, I mean...
You're right. They've got a lot of Missouri, Brampton,
Tulsa. Yeah.
And I think the one team that they don't have on there, which I would really like to see and be a good measuring stick, is Denver.
Yeah.
Because that's the team you're going to need to leapfrog for 4th. Denver's getting some of their players back from call-ups now. They won't be getting Kieran Milan back for a little while, I think.
Right, yeah.
He's stuck in the ECHL in Wheeling. And Avalanche beat reporter Adrian Dater reported that he will probably be there for a little while doing some more conditioning.
Yeah, in Denver, it looks like it has about 60 to 70% of their schedule. The rest of the way is at home.
Yeah.
But they play Allen quite a bit. They have Rapid City again. They have Missouri, Quad City a couple times. So their schedule as well, I mean, they have 2 games against St. Charles, but that's about it. Not a lot of games against Tulsa. No games like you mentioned against Wichita. So they're going to be. That's a tough schedule too, except for the fact that you're playing at home quite a bit. So it'll be interesting to see if those 2 teams flip flop, or even with Arizona, if Arizona moves up and takes that spot from them.
Let's take a look at Brampton here real quick while we're going through schedules, and our thanks to our friends at Point Streak for all their stats, and they do a really good job collecting that information for the league. But Brampton plays 3 in Arizona, who's red hot right now, and then they fly back home to Canada, and will play 3 against Wichita beginning Valentine's Day weekend, and then 3 against St. Charles before they hit the road and play 2 more in Quad City. And I think that looks like that will be the end of that season series. I just want to make one remark about the Quad City Brampton rivalry this year. That is probably the best in the CHL this year.
Yeah.
That has been entertaining hockey. Yes, Quad City has owned the Brampton Beast this year, but it's been very entertaining hockey to watch.
Yeah, and I think that's good for Quad City to get a rival like that. After Quad City is the remaining IHL team that was left after the merger, so I think that's good for Quad City as far as a Central Hockey League member to get a good rivalry like that. And obviously, we are concerned with the geographics of Brampton being up there, but you're right, it's been good hockey for them and for both teams, and entertaining to say the least.
Still going through the Brampton schedule, they have Missouri, Denver, Rapid. Looking at Tulsa, I mean, if we were to look at Tulsa from a trade deadline perspective, we would have to say that Tulsa is the big loser at the deadline, correct?
Well, yeah. There's a lot of teams that didn't make moves, so anybody could be winners or losers. But we felt, and I still feel like Tulsa should have made a change at goaltending. That was something that I still feel like is a major gap in the chances of them having success. So that move wasn't made. We still have a little bit of time for them to sign free agents, but I think that's a move they should have tried to make.
I mean, what else do you have to add besides yes, they should have made a move, because their goaltending is not going to get them far in the playoffs, and it might even actually get them out of a playoff spot, because they're only 1 point behind Wichita in the standings, and Wichita has 3 games in hand on them.
The fact that Tulsa played a very front-loaded schedule is going to hurt them this year, and the fact that they didn't capitalize on that, I think, is going to be very detrimental to them.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of the teams, looking at the standings, Tulsa's played 45 games, Wichita's 42, Arizona 41, Quad City 37. You've got to look at everybody else before them. Tulsa will have more off days the last part of the season, and that could be a good or a bad thing. When everybody else is making their playoff push, Tulsa is sitting idly by and watching people pass them.
Yeah.
So I think, the urgency from Bruce Ramsey to get a goalie in there probably needed to be more on deadline day than what it was.
Yeah, I agree totally.
You know, so it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I do believe that Tulsa will finish out of the playoffs. Currently at below 500. Wichita is at 500, and the only reason that they are not ahead of them in the standings is because Tulsa has one more point than Wichita. So,
yeah, and we, you know, the sad part about it is we could have seen this coming. You know,
Yeah.
and we did. We mentioned this a couple weeks ago that, you know, they were slumping. A change needed to be made in goaltending, and like you said, it wasn't made.
yep. Okay. Well, San Francisco Bulls recently folded at the last week of January, and as fans, it was, as unfortunate as it is.
It's bull.
Yeah, it really is. But we like to sit there and talk about what player would look good on our respective team. If you're a CHL general manager, what players from that roster do you think you'd want to see on your team?
I'm looking at the roster right now. A lot of them are at a minus, so I'm trying to look at it plus. Whose roster are we talking about? Are we
Just
talking about Wichita, or are we talking, like...
Just anybody.
I mean, I think you got to look at a guy like Dale Mitchell, who had 23 points in 25 games for them. It was a +4. Adrian Foster had 17 points through 15 games. So, I mean, there's, and then if you're Tulsa, you could look at the goaltending and maybe get some help through that. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of players that could benefit and help some teams in the Central Hockey League.
I think you take a guy like Dylan King and Scott Langdon. Both of those players played in the CHL with Allen, and I don't think that Allen would make the move to get them. And the word on the street is that both King and Langdon would be a package deal. If you got one, you got both. So I think you take a look at a guy like at both those guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Joey, anything?
Did you say Calvin Saggart signed with another team?
Yeah.
Kalamazoo?
Yeah.
I see Ryan Flanagan also played for him this year. He's a former Thunder player. Mm-hmm. And then I think they let go of Riley Emerson right before they folded.
Yeah,
so.
Riley Emerson also signed in Arizona.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, obviously people are going to try to fish out all these players to try to, better the roster. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate that a team goes down in midseason. I don't think the ECHL has seen that since the Fresno Falcons did that a few years back. And actually, Stockton got a head coach out of it, and a pretty damn good one. But he's now coaching in I think college hockey up in Alaska now. Either way,
# college hockey.
College hockey. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where a lot of these players end up. Whether it's CHL, ECHL. I don't think some of them will go overseas. I mean, it's towards the end of the season, so either sign home here or you just go home. So, but I'm sure the majority of these players have found a home already.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, and when they do, and it's announced, you'll hear about it right here.
All right. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
have this.
Let's
bring in our special guest here.
Here, shall we? You can share a mic with me for this, and she can take the fancy Taco Grande mic that just sounded like it growled at her.
A lot of things growl at me.
Whoa.
Meow.
Whoa.
Goo goo gaga.
Where is the banana hot dog?
All right, here we go. This is the Minor League Hockey Report interview. Joining us today is the lovely wife of Matthew Harding, Miss Shaylin Harding. Shaylin, welcome to the interview.
Yahoo!
Hi.
Apparently she likes Yahoo over Google.
Hi.
Question number 1. What's it like being married to Matthew Harding?
It's fantastic.
How long did it take you to realize that he does not like being called Matt?
Well, apparently 8.5 years.
And at what point did you find out that he didn't care for that?
About 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Now, wait a minute.
No, this is our interview.
Wait a minute.
Nobody asked you.
You don't like being called Matt?
Wait a minute. No.
Use his mic.
No.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. It's not that I don't like being called Matt. My professional name is Matthew.
Yeah, you explained this earlier, but
Am I there?
Shawway's
There we
running
go.
the show
okay.
now.
So,
Jason Shawway, running the pod.
I'm excited. I got all the sound bites in front of me. Okay, go ahead.
oh
Sorry.
yeah, hey, yeah, use the soundboard.
Okay. Accordingly.
So, you've been together for how long?
Almost 9 years.
Okay, and up until today, you had no idea that he didn't necessarily enjoy being called Matt.
None whatsoever.
That's awesome to me. Okay, so what's it like being married to Matthew Harding?
It's great. I couldn't have asked for anybody better.
And what so far has been the most surprising thing about marriage?
The fact that he doesn't like to be called Matt.
Okay, Shawway, your turn.
Okay. In the time you've known each other, what is the best quality about Matthew Harding?
Go ahead.
His best quality is his kindness and generosity.
Are you saying that just because he's here?
No.
I would agree with that.
No, this man would.
Okay, so did you get into hockey because of Matt, or did you like hockey before?
I'd been to a few games before, but mostly started going continuously because of him.
And what is your favorite thing about the game of hockey?
Darren McMillan, of course.
Aaron McMillan was a great defenseman back when he was with Wichita, and
Thank you.
he's still a solid D-man. He's on.
Was it
downslope
strictly
of his
though
career.
because you found him attractive?
No.
Did you find him attractive?
No.
Okay.
It's because when I first started going to games, I was like, hey, that Darren McMillan guy's good. And Matt's like, no, we should trade him. We should trade him. Guess who got
Poor
Rookie
Matt.
of the Year that year?
Darren McMillan.
Yes, he did.
So you're an educated hockey fan as well. Good job.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, I mean, you obviously can pick out good players. So, shall we? Next question. Other than Darren McMillan, favorite Thunder player?
Yeah.
I would have to say probably Whitey.
Really? Why?
Just because you will run into him anywhere, and he will acknowledge you. He'll say hi to you. He was a good defenseman, all-around good guy.
There you go.
He's very active with the public.
Yeah.
You can't ask for more from a hockey player.
Favorite food?
Hot dogs.
Travis, there you go. Let's talk about the wedding, though. Went off pretty much without a hitch.
It was fantastic.
It was a good time. Did you have a good day? Was it stressful? Was it everything you wanted it to be? I mean, you seem pretty happy.
It was very, very stressful. I would not do it again, but it was great. It's nice to hear from a couple of friends that they said it looked like it went off without a hitch, even though there was a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people didn't know was going on.
Yeah.
Which you're going to have that with any wedding, but one of my friends, he told me that, she said your wedding was one of the ones that ran the smoothest that I've ever been to. So it's good to hear something like that from somebody that's on the other side.
Yeah, and being a part of it, I mean, obviously we saw a couple of those little hiccups, but once everything got started, and that's what Matt and I talked about beforehand, was once everything gets started, it's smooth sailing.
And it didn't matter at that point.
Yep. So my favorite part of the day was looking over while we were standing there in front of the pastor and seeing Matt shed a tear.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. His lip was quivering the second, and I mean the second you popped around the corner.
It was a good moment.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite see him until I got up closer.
Oh man, that's the first thing I did because him and I had talked about it. We said, "Are you going to cry?" And he goes, "Probably." There's a good chance. There's a good chance. So music started. You come around the corner, and I instantly look over, and that lip of his was moving. Do you have any questions for us?
Oh yeah.
You can go stupid if you want. You can
Yeah.
ask us retarded questions if you'd like.
How long have you two known each other?
6 years now? 5 or 6?
Yep.
So let's see.
Probably since my senior year in high school.
How'd you guys meet?
The
Craigslist. On Lost
Are you
Connections.
that guy that
I
has
thought it was
the
casual.
bathtub full of spaghetti that you ask random people to come
How
sit
did
in?
you know?
I thought it was casual encounters. I'm sorry.
Was it a Bob
We-
Ross painting class?
It was a happy tree that brought you guys together.
No, it was a happy bush.
It was at
Oh, happy bush. Sorry,
Yeah.
my fault.
or a happy trail. One
we.
of the two.
We
It
partnered up to paint a happy bush.
it was a happy accident.
Hey,
No,
I thought you weren't in this.
He's not. He's disobeying orders. No, we met on the Thunder message board, which at the time the Thunder message board was active and lively, and they used to have a game night chat, which was actually like a Yahoo chat room that Shawway and I would go into and just wreak havoc. And so, and I don't even know really how we, but I think it was just the chat room. Like we thought each other were funny, and so we ended up just chatting through there and sending. So then we did a road trip down to, it was Tulsa, honestly, the first time like we hung out.
No, I think we played wiffle ball at Lawrence Dumont with Schuster.
Yeah, we played wiffle ball with Schuster, and then we did a road trip down to Tulsa together
with Daniel, now Boron, and her mom.
Yeah, and
I gotta sleep in the
I mean,
backseat
ever since then though, been real good buddies. Okay, so you guys met in a chat room online,
Correct.
and who was? Do not talk. Who was more forward, you or him?
Of course, me.
Okay, Who asked who out?
Me.
Okay, how did that come about?
We just started talking, and then one night I wanted to go over and meet him, and the weather was bad, and so he was like, "No, I don't want you to get out in the weather and all this stuff. You stay home." So I'm thinking, "Oh, that's really sweet." Yeah, really, what he wanted to do is he wanted to sit at home and geek it up, and he didn't want me to see that he had all his radars.
Define
up.
geek it up.
He had all of his radars up on his computer, and he's sitting there watching the weatherman on the TV, and
I like his style.
but he didn't want me to know that. I'm thinking he's being sweet, so it all worked.
Right.
But he really later was like, "Yeah, I just didn't want you to see me be a weather geek."
So first date. Talk to me about first date.
I don't really remember what.
Remember where we went?
Margaritas? Yes.
Talk to me. Come on, let's have it.
It lasts about an hour.
It's go time.
It was our first date.
Yeah.
I want to kiss you.
It's our first date. Go to Margaritas for dinner. I pay. She has all you can eat chips and everything else.
Yeah, free chips. You know how to get a girl.
That's right. Free chips and fajitas,
And
baby.
salsa, might I add.
And chips and salsa and fajitas.
I'll show you my chimichanga. Sorry.
Nobody
Sorry, that was no.
No,
sorry.
we don't
No,
want to see your salsa.
Then I think
God.
we went and walked on the river. We went and let your dog out, who is now deceased.
Oh.
We had to go let her out. Then we went and walked on the river. And then we went back to my house, watched Bruce Almighty. That first kiss probably lasted like 4 hours. It
Hell
was
yeah.
2 in the morning.
All right.
It's all right. We're not done yet.
Oh yeah, we have to wrap up our podcast.
Yep, we have to wrap up our podcast. So
Wait,
Yikes.
what podcast?
yeah, that'll do it for the Minor League Hockey Report podcast. For Jason Shavi,
Bye.
Zach Quarter,
Bye-bye.
I'm Matthew Harding. We'll talk to you here in a couple of weeks. So long for now.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Ain't got no regrets. I ain't losing track of which way I'm going. I ain't gonna double back, no. Don't want no misplay. Put on no display.